I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Welcome to the August 4, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details, as we continue our look at the great confession psalm of David, Psalm 51. We've said that David, a man after God's own heart, and yet a great sinner, even after he knew Christ, or not Christ, but God, knew God from the time he was a child all into his middle age, and had done so many great things with God's help. Even he committed two of the worst sins that you can, adultery and murder. And he gives us the model confession, and we've been breaking it down word for word, line for line. I want to cover a beautiful line in Psalm 51, and that is in verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. I was teaching on this just moments ago in my adult Sunday school class at Southside Baptist Church, and one of my students, Damaris Matos, who is a profound Bible scholar, in her own right, she was explaining to us that the words there, the words to create and to make, actually are the exact Hebrew words used in Genesis in the creation account, and that it is talking about making something from scratch. You know, nobody can really easily change their own heart. You certainly can't change someone else's heart, and it's very hard to change someone else's attitude. And as a motivational speaker, I know that even though, yes, there's some tricks and strategies and tips that I teach all the time to help people take control of their own emotions and attitudes and mindset, I also know that there is a limit to those tricks, and that ultimately true long-term motivation and spirit comes from God. It really does. You know, there's a reason why the word enthusiasm comes from the Greek meaning to be filled with God. God is the one that can change your heart and can change your spirit, your mindset. And this request from David comes, as we said in a couple programs ago, comes after he's indicated that it is human nature to sin, even as early as childhood. We come into this world selfish and thoughtless and very self-centered and self-absorbed. And that is the mindset, that is human nature. How do we break out of that? It's very, very difficult. It's really impossible. What we need is to be created again. And that gives all new meaning and insight to passages in the New Testament, like when Jesus is talking to Nicodemus, and he says to him that people need to be born again. And Nicodemus says, what do you mean? I have to come through my mother's womb and birth canal again? And Jesus, says, no, you have to be born again in the Spirit. What's that about? It's about God doing exactly what David's asking. Create in me from scratch, cutting it out meticulously, making a new heart and a new spirit. It's just what Paul says in the New Testament when he's saying when we come to Christ, we are a new creature, a new creation. God is renewing everything that went wrong in the garden. You know, Christ said, remember, he said, behold, I am making all things new. And that is exactly what he is doing. He is recreating, he's refashioning us from what our human nature, our fallen nature is, to the new creation with new hearts and new spirits. So confess your sins to God, and then ask him to do what he is ready and happy and willing to do. Make you into a new creature with a new heart and a new spirit. What glorious, happy, encouraging news on this Sunday morning. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me again on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details.